How we doing, guys? In my video earlier I talked about doing the 300 Blackout brass, and I want to thank Treetop Flyer. I messaged him on one of his videos he's doing in his new series about his 300 Blackout experiences as far as converting brass from 556 to 223 to 300 Blackout, and he used the Lee Quick Trim Deluxe. And he had some really good videos on there. I asked him about the issue I was having, where it seemed like it would shave it down to a certain point but wouldn't go any further than that. And what was happening was I'd get it to about 1.400, somewhere around that range, and then I couldn't get it down to 1.368 or below, which is what the book calls for. So got in touch with him. He gave me a few tips. Checked to see if my blades were still straight. The blades were straight. I delubed the trim die because there was some oil in the trim die. When I first got it, I delubed it, but I used the Hornady one-shot clean and lube, so it still had a little bit of lube in there. I got that out. I was able to do one or two cases, get that done, and it started having the same problem again. So I switched it to using the hand crank, and of course using the hand crank worked a little bit, but definitely tedious and time consuming, and I'm trying to find a way to speed it up a little more. Putting it on the Lee threaded cutter adapter on the Lyman Case Prep Center does work. It's a little bit more time consuming too, so what I've done is I've taken the Lee cutter and lock stud that came with my breech lock kit, and I put the lock stud here on a drill. I put my cutter in the vise, and this is working okay. The only issue that I'm having is when the brass bites on the cutter, of course it'll spin the brass out of the lock stud. So gonna see if I can put it on here and see if I can show you guys what it is that I'm trying to get done and get accomplished as far as this goes. Any advice that's out there, I would greatly appreciate. I considered buying a different style trimmer, like the Hornady case trimmer, or even the Lyman, but right now I've spent about as much money as I can on my reloading equipment, so I'm just gonna have to find a way to make it work. So let's see if I can get it to go. Alright, that's one of the biggest things, is making sure that these cases are all the way up against where they need to be. And of course, right away it spins out. So some of the cases I've had to do, I'll get it about halfway cut, then I'll run it through the chamfer and deburring tool on the Lyman Case Prep Center and finish it up, and then that seems to help. Yeah, and see, once it starts getting to where that cutter starts grabbing that brass, then it gets to a point where it just doesn't want to come off. And then right now, it's like the case gauge itself is trying to come off also. So the funny part is I tried to shoot this video earlier, and of course I didn't have any issues, but again, all my audio was garbage. So I think I'm gonna do away with trying to use the lapel mic right now and just stick to what's working. So only thing I kind of wish is they had a way to completely lock this case into this thing. If I had a way to do that, it wouldn't keep slipping out like that, so. And there it goes again, so. Well, like I said, it definitely works in this guy. But of course, you know, you don't want to have to keep switching from one to the other and one to the other. And then when you drop the case, that is a pain as well. So, get it in this guy. So it didn't have that much further that it needed to go. It definitely works a lot better if you can do it with the drill. And of course, you guys can see that I'm getting these beautiful little rings of brass. So that's what it is as the cutter here engages it, it's trimming it and trimming it and trimming it, and if that little piece breaks off, the burr grabs, and when that burr grabs, that's it. It wants to hold the case in place, and it makes it to where it spins out of the lock stud. So I'm definitely up for advice, comments, concerns. If there's any suggestions you guys can make on how I can, or if there's a reloading part out there that I don't know about, which I can lock into my drill, please let me know. I even went to Harbor Freight and got the little screwdriver here. It works, but the problem is the tip's not magnetic and it's not a chuck. So without it being a chuck, it makes it extremely hard to keep this guy in there and keep it from wobbling. So I'll try and show you that right now. I mean, at least with this guy, the RPMs on it are so much less that it really doesn't eat up your gloves when you're trying to do it. But you see that wobble? So. And of course that guy worked perfect. So take it off, spin it around, spin it around. Sometimes that ring is a little pain to get off. But hey, at least I'm not trying to do it by hand, right? So that guy came off. That guy works. And I'm definitely doing my best to drop as many as possible into, not like that drop. As many as possible as I can into my Lyman ammo checker. Because if these guys, I believe these are ones that I processed through my Lee 300 Blackout die. And like I said in the other video, I was also running them afterwards into my RCDS small base die, and I believe those guys didn't make it into the small base die. So I'm checking every one of them pretty much and trying to make sure that I have them all correct. Also, gloves. Protect yourselves, guys. The chemicals, those type of things, you know, they can say they're biodegradable when it comes to the lubes and everything else, but the only way to be sure is to protect yourself. Other than that, God bless and good night.